Yes. Okay, go.
Okay, Baruch Hashem, when Dor asked me when to make this event today, there was few options, and one of them was Yud Kislev, which is today. So I think it's a very special day. Also, Rabbi Shmuel's grandfather or grandmother?
Grandpa. Yeah.
Grandfather also was passed away in a very special day. Today it's the day when the Alter Rebbe came out of jail in St. Petersburg about 200 years ago, 200 and more. The Alter Rebbe is the first Rebbe of Chabad, of the Chabad movement. He was the Chassid of the Maggid of Mezrich, and the Maggid of Mezrich was the Chassid of the Alter Rebbe, of the Baal Shem Tov.
Sorry, what he done to go to jail?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay.
Today, so that's one thing, he came out of jail. Second thing is today is the Ilula of the Maggid of Mezrich, the day of his passing. So it's a very special day today. So the official reason why he was arrested was because he was collecting money to poor families in Israel. And there was another movement at that time who didn't really understand the movement of the Hasidut, and they thought that it's another cult. So they went and tell that the Alter Rebbe is rebelling against the Russian regime.
Yeah.
But that was not, he was collecting money for poor families in Israel, and they said that he's cooperating with the Turkish, anyway. That was the official reason. But everything, the Alter Rebbe is not a simple person. He's a very, very special person. So the story was when they came to take the Alter Rebbe to jail, and then he asked one of his special Hasidim, should I go with these people or not? Because the Alter Rebbe is not, if he doesn't want to go, he doesn't go. So, and then the Chassid, his name was Rabbi Shmuel Munkes. He was had a lot of humor, this Chassid, but he was a very, very, very like mini Rebbe kind of. So he said, look, if you are a Rebbe, then why do you need to be afraid to go with them? You're a Rebbe. Nothing will happen to you. And if you're not a Rebbe, who gave you the permission to take the pleasures of life from people in this world? Because the Alter Rebbe wrote the Tanya. When you learn the Tanya, it tells you how much you need to work on yourself, on your different things that pulling a person to certain pleasures that are maybe sometimes not okay with the Torah. So he said, if you're a Rebbe, then you shouldn't be afraid. Why are you asking? If you're not a Rebbe, who gave you the permission to take away the pleasure? So he said, okay, I'm going to go with them. Then he went. And I don't remember exactly what was, but he was going on a carriage with horses, and one of the wheels broke. And then they went and fixed the wheel, and then again another wheel broke, and then again one of the horses died. So they understood that this is not a simple person over here. So then they asked him, like, what is it? I don't remember. I don't remember what was the reason why did it stop, but maybe he didn't. I think he didn't want. Now I remember, he didn't want to travel on Shabbat. So he said, like, I'm not traveling on Shabbat. I'm not allowed to travel on Shabbat. So Hashem made different things happen that they couldn't go forward with their journey. And then afterward was Motzei Shabbat. I don't know I think it was Motzei Shabbat, but anyway, it was time to sanctify the moon. Usually you sanctify the moon on Motzei Shabbat. I'm not so sure if it was Motzei Shabbat, but anyway. So he asked to sanctify the moon, and they said, no, we don't. We continue on with the boat. He was going on a boat. And then he said, no, I need to sanctify the moon. And then suddenly the boat stopped. The boat didn't continue. So then they understood, okay, so like we need to see, like we have a special person here. So then they asked them, okay, we can stop the boat to do your prayer, then we can continue. And then when the Alter Rebbe went into jail, he asked, there was two people who came to him to visit him. People wasn't alive still. The Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid of Mezrich. They came into this world. Tzaddikim, they don't have any limitations of regular people. So they came into the jail, and they came to visit the Alter Rebbe in jail. And then Alter Rebbe asked them, why am I sitting here in jail? So they told them that there was a big kitug, big persecution in heaven, that he's spreading out the secrets of the Torah, which based on Kabbalah. And because he was the first one who wrote the book Tanya, which basically take all the Kabbalah and all the secrets and bring it into people that even simple people that anyone could have access and understand more. That's why Chabad also called Chabad, because it stands for Chokhmah Binah Dat. The Alter Rebbe's thing was to take all the Kabbalah and all the secrets of all the internal part of the Torah and bring it into the people that everyone could understand the Kabbalah, and not only certain like lofty people, holy people. So he told them, okay, so if I did it, should I stop? Maybe it's not something good because they have big persecution, kitur. And then they told him, since you started, you should go even more after you get out. So he got out, and okay. So that's the story with the Alter Rebbe, which today is the day of when he was released from jail, of the Russian jail. And then today there's also another thing, like I said, the Lula of the Maggid of Mezrich, so it's a very, very special day today. And the Alter Rebbe said that everyone should celebrate this day. It's a celebration not just of his, it's a celebration of everyone, because basically this Torah that Alter Rebbe published, it helps everyone to deal with the Yetzer Hara and all these challenges in this world, so it's everyone's celebration. Okay, so that's regarding the day of today. And now today I would like to talk about the laws of Chalav Nochi. Okay, 1 second. So there's two prohibitions. There's one prohibition of not to eat Chalav Nochi. What does that mean, Chalav Nochi? That a milk that was milk while there was no Jewish person present while they were milking the milk from the cow. And this is one prohibition. And for that, there's Rabbi Feinstein. I know that he's allowing in certain cases to drink if you don't have if you're not able to get Chalav Israel. You could maybe rely on other lenient opinions. It says that you could rely on the government, who is checking, making sure that they don't put non-kosher milk in there. I mean, we'll see the reasons why this whole thing started, but there's two gzerot the Chachamim made. One, not to take cheese that was made by without supervision of a Jew, and there's no anyone who allows it. Even Rabbi Feinstein is not allowing it. That's why today here, and if you know, they have kosher cheese in the school. They might not have milk. Chalav Israel, but they do have cheese, because cheese, no one is allowing it. There's some people who say, oh, this is not really cheese, it's something else, that's a different thing, but actual cheese, this is a gzerah of Chachamim. So let's start first with what's the reasons of all this prohibition of drinking a milk that was not watched by a Jew, which is called Chalav Nochi, and cheese also, buying cheese that was not watched by a Jew. So there's few reasons in the Gemara. It brings Masechet Avodah Zarah, which is the same as what the Rabbi Shmuel made the Siyuman. We learned it together. Daf Lamed Hey Amud Aleph, the Daf 35, page 1. The first reason is because Nikur Shel Nachash. In that time, it wasn't as today as everything is clean and no problem. There was a concern that maybe a snake came and put poison inside the milk. So it had to be watched. That when you buy the milk from the non-Jew, that there was no any snake that put poison in there. And that actually, by the way, the Rabbeinu Tam, the Tosfot holds that this is still the reason. But there's other reasons too. What, you have a question?
No, I mean, if you stand by the milk and when the snake comes, you run away. So the snake still poisons the milk.
No, if it wasn't watched, you're right. But we will see in the Gemara. Actually, the Gemara discuss it. Yeah.
This came funny to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you see snake, you run away. I mean,
you're right.
So then snake can poison the milk.
I mean, if you weren't there and the snake came and...
No, you're there. You're next to milk.
Oh, if you're there, then it's not a problem.
The snake comes, and you run away. And then the snake poisons the milk.
Correct. But we will see in the Gemara, we'll ask about this, a lot of questions. Okay. I'm just giving the kind of the conclusions, but I will get to the Gemara to see all the back and forth questions and answer about this.
Yes.
And then another reason is, which we will see, the Gemara is asking, okay, you're saying because another reason, because maybe they mixed non-kosher milk, like a camel milk or other milk, with this milk. So the Gemara is asking, okay, so what's the problem? It looks different. Kosher milks look white and non-kosher milk looks green. Also, you can make cheese from kosher milk. You cannot make cheese from a non-kosher milk.
Mm-hmm.
So try to make cheese out of it. If you see you're able to make cheese, then it's kosher. If you're not able to make cheese, then it's non-kosher. But the Gemara answer on this that yeah, you're right. But there's holes in the cheese. That sometimes you can have some milk left there's some milk left in the cheese. It could be that milk is maybe non-kosher. So you cannot know 100% that it's kosher milk. So the third reason is they used to, when they make cheese, they used to put it in the stomach of a baby cow. And so you have a problem over here because they would put it in a baby cow's stomach, which is non-kosher, and there is the skin that was mixed in there. So you have a problem with mixing meat and milk, one issue. Second thing, it's non-kosher cow. And there's another rule called davar ma'amid. What does that mean, davar ma'amid? There's a law in halacha said, even if you have something non-kosher mixed with kosher and it happened by accident, not ideally, you can say it nullified by 60. If there's so little amount of it, it's like as if it's not here because there's so much of kosher against that. But there's another rule, okay? So if you have 60 times the amount of whatever fell in there, it's still okay. If after the fact, not ideally. Now, but it says here that it wouldn't help you in this case. You could say, okay, it's so little, the stomach of the cow, it's so little, there's nothing left in the cheese. But there's another word, it's called davar ma'amid, meaning that if that little thing, even though it's so little amount, that's what makes the whole thing. Without that, you cannot make the cheese. Meaning, how do you make the cheese? You put the milk inside the cow's stomach, and there's certain enzymes in the cow's stomach that helps this milk to become cheese. So without these enzymes, you wouldn't have cheese. Although those enzymes are very little, but it's called davar ma'amid. That's what make it stand, kind of. So without this, you wouldn't have the whole cheese. Even though it's a very small amount, it's not nullified, and therefore it's a problem.
Sorry, can you
yes.
discuss something about this 60%? What's that about?
1 out of 60.
Huh?
1 out of 60,
One
not
out of-
60%. It's different.
No,
Yeah,
but
you're right,
also
1 out of-
60% to be, that means like 40 majority. No, but my question is, for example, when you spilled
Yeah.
happened part of the second, how do you know if it's like 60% or less, like 1 part of 60 or
So if you have a doubt,
this?
then you have to be
How
machmir.
this is determined? I mean, there must be more
So there is actually.
precisely determined that in by Chachamim.
So the truth is, it doesn't say in the Torah anywhere in the biblical Torah that this concept of 60. It says in the Torah that if there's no taste, that they learned it from another place there's one part of the cow which you shouldn't eat. It's called
Okay.
the what's it called? The Gid Hanasheh. The Gid Hanasheh. It's a whole thing, but anyway, I don't want to go a bit off the topic, but anyway, that says and they learned that if there's a taste, then it's there. If there's no taste of this whatever prohibited thing, then it's like as if it's not here. Because taste give it identity. So Chachamim learned that usually when you have 60 times against whatever it is, there's no taste. But there's actually another opinion that says you don't go by 60, you go by taste. You let the non-Jew to taste and tell him, you taste anything of that non-kosher thing? No, I don't taste. But even that, there's another poskim who said, he needs to be, that he doesn't know why you're asking him. So it's called Mesiach Lefi Tumo. He tells you I taste some nice taste of milk. He doesn't know why you're asking him. And another thing, he needs to be an expert taster. Not just anyone, because there's people who their job is to taste. Whatever, that's another thing.
Yeah,
But that's
continue
yeah.
the topic.
Anyway, another reason is because שמחליקים פניה בשומן חזיר. They used to make it smooth with the fat of a pig, the cheese. They used to make it more smooth. So that's the reason why Chachamim forbade the cheese, unless it's been watched by a Jew. A fifth reason is because they use another way of making cheese is you taking chometz, a vinegar, and through vinegar you're making cheese. There's apparently this way. Now, back then you could make vinegar from wine. Wine also could become vinegar if you don't.
Yes.
So basically, there's a concern if it's wine, then it's not kosher wine, because the wine, there's another restriction of wine. It's another prohibition that Chachamim made that you're not allowed to all the process of wine. It needs to be the only Jewish people, no one non-Jewish in this. If there's a non-Jew who touch this wine, the whole thing is non-kosher. But the reason for that, it's also Masechet Avodah Zarah, it's because of marriage. Chachamim made this prohibition. They didn't want Jews marrying non-Jews, and they thought there's two reasons. One is Avodah Zarah, and one is marriage. Marriage is they wanted Jews to be distinct, not to be too close to the non-Jews, and when they go and drink together, they might become very close. So they didn't want. Another thing is they used to sanctify the wine to Avodah Zarah, to worship idols. So when there's a law that when you sanctify something to Avodah Zarah, you're not allowed to have benefit from it. So let's say another thing, interesting thing. Let's say in India, I haven't researched it, but it's probably true. If you go to India and then they worship the cow, you're not allowed to enjoy the milk that come out of this cow because this cow has been designated for Avodah Zarah. So you're not allowed to have benefit from this cow. But we don't have it here, so there's no one is worshiping cows here. But yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
when you mentioned vinegar, for example, vinegar first came from wine, and today there is problem, for example, with the vegan food. Vegan food, the main problem that is not kosher when it's vinegar from wine.
Correct. That's the problem.
That is the main problem.
Yes,
Anyway,
exactly.
continue.
Another reason is they could make it from saraf orla. Okay, saraf, it's a certain thing in the tree that has, if you hit the tree, you see some milk or something, it's called saraf. I don't know how you say it in English. Something,
kind of, sweat, but
Sticky,
just comes out of
sticky.
the
something
yeah.
sticky.
Yeah, I
that
know
comes
what you
out
mean.
of the-
Yeah.
I know
So
what
so
you
they
mean.
would make from this, they would make cheese. Now, what's the problem? The problem is there's a law who said that you're not allowed to have any benefit from the tree for the first 3 years. It's called orla. And if you have any benefit you have from this tree, you're not allowed to eat whatever you made from this tree. So if you made this saraf from the tree, you made cheese with that, it's a problem. Okay, so let's see now. This is what? Sorry, yeah.
No, continue, sorry.
Let's see from the Gemara actually, all the discussion that I said, how do you see it inside the Gemara? Let's start from here. Okay. Let's start maybe from this one. Okay, it says here, in the Mishnah, Masechet Avodah Zarah, Daf Chavtet Amud Bet. They're asking in the Mishnah, Mitnei ma asur chachamim gvinot goyim? For what reason chachamim forbade the cheese of non-Jews? And then the Mishnah, it says, answer, Mitnei shema'amidin ota bekeva shel nevela, because they are putting it inside the stomach of a non-kosher animal to make it cheese, which we just told you that. Ma? Shema'amidin ota bekeva shel nevela.
Okay.
They're putting the cheese inside the non-kosher meat,
Inside
the stomach of a baby cow. Yes.
Okay.
And then afterward, he is asking them in the Mishnah. I mean, he's asking what's the okay. So he said, sure. Okay. So he's asking why aren't they? Okay, that's the reason from the Mishnah, and then we can get to the Gemara who discuss it more in details. This one here. Okay, there's another Mishnah. It says, "Ve'elu dvarim shel goyim asurin ve'en isuran hana'ah." What things that come from the non-Jews, they are forbidden, but it's not forbid to have a benefit from it. Meaning you're not allowed to eat it, but you're still allowed to have benefit from it. And it says, "Chalav shechalvo goy ve'en Israel ro'eu." So a milk that was milked by a non-Jew, and a Jew doesn't see it. It's an interesting way. Why can't they say non-Jewish milk? Why did they say a milk that was milked by a non-Jew that a Jew didn't see it? So because of that, we will see that that it's kind of like that there's something spiritual that Chachamim made this for Isur that we don't know, because we will see in the Gemara they're asking about this. Okay. Chalav lemay nechush. Why should they be concerned about the milk? If we are concerning that they're going to change it with a non-kosher milk, tahor chiver, tamei yarok. And a kosher milk is white, and a non-kosher milk is green. ואם משום עירובי, and if because we might mix it with another non-kosher cheese, nekum, we could put it and see, try to make a cheese out of it. If it becomes cheese, then it's kosher. If not, then it's non-kosher. דאמר, חלב טהור עומד, חלב טמא אינו עומד. Kosher milk becomes cheese, and non-kosher milk doesn't become cheese. Now the Gemara is asking, Ide b'kabay legvina chanami. If you want to make a cheese out of it, then you just try to make cheese, and then it's not, then you can see if it becomes cheese or not. And then the Gemara answers that we're talking if he doesn't want to make cheese out of it. He wants to make some food called kamcha. Okay, so this is one place in the Gemara that we see, and then this is about milk. Now let's see about cheese. Let's see. So it's, I don't know if I lost it for some reason. Okay, maybe it's here actually.
Yes.
Okay. So, no, not sure. I don't find it in this. Okay, since I don't find it now, but we can go to the. I think it's maybe here. Okay, so let's see this other thing from the Shulchan Aruch. I already said what the Gemara said, but we didn't see it all from inside. I just said it by heart. We saw all the 7 reasons. I am not able to find this, and we don't have so much time. So, but let's see from the Shulchan Aruch. Let's get to the Shulchan Aruch. What does the Shulchan Aruch say about this? Okay, you can all this issue of milk. It's a new thing the Chachamim made. Before the Chachamim made this prohibition, you were allowed to take milk from non-Jews. You were allowed to take cheese from non-Jews. But what is the reason why Chachamim usually when they make something asur, why do they make it like? Why it seems like the more the generation goes, the more restrictions we have. And why is it so? Like why? Like I don't even know if Avraham was wearing a kippah or Moshe had a kippah even. Like, I don't know. The more time went by, which Chachamim made more restrictions and more restrictions. So to answer that, it says that when we had the Beit HaMikdash, there was very strong light. There was a lot of miracles. There was certain miracles that there was so many people going in there, and there was still space. They were going, let's say, what they were doing like Shmona Esrei, going 3 steps backward and 3 steps. Suddenly there was space of 3 steps backward. It also says Makom Aaron eno min amidah, that if you measure the Aaron, you would see a certain measurement, and then you would check from the sides of the Aaron. You would see there's more space, and it shouldn't have this space. Another thing, there was fire going down from heaven and burning the korban. It's a lot of miracles. We don't have these miracles today. So because Chachamim said that today, unfortunately, we're not that spiritual as they were back then, the time of Beit HaMikdash, Chachamim made gzerot, so that they decrease, that kind of keeping us, we need this in order to be still close to Hashem. So they made these fences and these things, all these gzerot, to still, and this is because of the love of Hashem. It's not because Hashem wanted us to have more, difficult life. It's just like say one father who has an only kid. If he has his only kid, he would watch this kid so much. He would make sure that there's no any danger in the way when he goes to school. He would himself wait for him. So the same thing is us. Hashem sees that we are kind of alone. We don't have all these spiritual miracles that we had in the time of Beit HaMikdash. So Chachamim made all these restrictions to kind of keeping us still close to Hashem, all because we don't have these spiritual revelations that they had in the time of Beit HaMikdash. Now, the Mechaber writes, so the Gemara, which we didn't see, we did see it. That's a different place in the Gemara that it says that if you have a non-Jewish person milking the cows, now it's enough that the Jewish person stands outside. It doesn't have to be during the milking. It's enough if he stands outside. Then the Gemara is asking, what's the deal? Is there a non-kosher cow, a non-kosher animal in this herd? If there's a non-kosher animal, then there's some concern that maybe he will milk the non-kosher animal. But so therefore, as long as the Jewish person could stand, even if he sits, as long as anytime he could stand and he can see what the non-Jew does, then it's okay. And then the Gemara is asking, okay, what if there's no non-kosher animal in this herd? What's the chance that he's going to put something non-kosher? So then it's enough even if when you stand you don't see, as long as you are there. As long as even if he's outside the milking factory or whatever, as long as he's nearby and the non-Jew know that anytime he could show up, that's enough. But you can still ask about this. Why do you need them? If there's no non-kosher animal in there, why is the Jewish person need to be there? B'chlal? There's no any chance today. What we said, this snake thingy, there's no snakes today. The mixing it with non-kosher milk, there's no chance he will mix it. But we see actually that the Gzerah of Chachamim, we don't always understand the reasons. Chachamim made this decree, and you can ask so many things. Why it seems to be like it's not applicable today, because there's no snakes today. They're not going to mix it. There's and that's like Rabbi Feinstein also said that that you could rely on the supervision of the government, that if they put some non-kosher milk in there, they will be sued. But since you see in the questions of the Gemara, this Mishnah, that he still needs to be there, even if there's no non-kosher cow, you see that there's something that Chachamim, that Chachamim said you need, a Jewish person needs to be there. Doesn't matter if there's no chance in the world that they will put something non-kosher. There needs to be there a Jewish person. And yes, sometimes we can ask so many things about those reasons that maybe not all of them are applicable today. But there's the Gzerah of the Chachamim. Chachamim made this decree. And there's a rule, in order for you to cancel a decree of Chachamim, you need to have another Beis Din who is bigger in minyan, in amount of bigger Beis Din, more people, and more wise. They need to be wiser. And today, we don't have any Beis Din who is wiser than the Beis Din of the Chachamim, and we don't have bigger Beis Din than that. So even though you can say that the reason is not applicable anymore, but since Chachamim made this Gzerah, we're still keeping it. And of course, that's why if you remember when we signed the Gemara, it doesn't say non-Jewish milk is non-kosher. It says that a milk that was milked by a non-Jew, that a Jew is watching it. Why doesn't it say non-Jewish milk? About cheese, it says non-Jewish, like vinot goyim, non-Jewish Gentile or non-Jewish cheese. It doesn't say that the Jew was there and he didn't see it, all these things. From that you see that there is some, maybe there, that's why Rabbi Feinstein and there's some poskim who said that today that you could maybe somehow watch and see that they don't put, and that's Chachamim meant that you should have a way to check that they don't put, even if it's not you or the Jewish person, but if the government is there, okay, but still, there's still the Gzerah of the Chachamim. So you could find a poskim who says that it's okay, but still, if you want to stick to what the Chachamim said, even if there's the reasons, it's maybe not applicable today, it's better to stick to what the Chachamim said. Yeah.
Sorry, I connect this with the thing that Halakha is based on what will happen if it happens. What will, simply, man goes to war, doesn't come back, what to do with a woman, not to go further.
Yeah.
So all that Halakha is based on what will happen if it happens.
Correct.
So this is also included for me like together. I don't know. I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm saying I might not be very far from the truth. You know, that snake, for example, whatever. They analyze different cases to make to that what happens if it happens.
Correct.
That is how I understand this thing, for example.
Now the Taz is asking. So if, like I said before, if there's no non-Jewish, if there's no non-kosher animal in there, why do you need to be there at all? Why the Gemara doesn't ask this question? The Gemara said, as long as he's there, it's okay. It's like, why should he be there at all? Why does the Jewish person need to be there? If there's no chance that they will put. So that's he does answer and says maybe he needs to watch it. He doesn't bring from outside non-kosher animal, but still that sounds kind of like it sounds like he tried to answer to make it fit. But the truth is that what we learn from it that it's actually a gzera. Chachamim made this decree, even though it doesn't logically still. Not all the reasons are still applicable, but since Chachamim made this gzera, in order for you to cancel it, you need to have bigger Beis Din and more wise. And there's actually a question here that he brings from the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Rebbe of Chabad, who also wrote a lot of answers and questions about the Shulchan Aruch. And there was a person. It says that there was one person. He had to go to daven in a minyan. He had his own cows, and he had a non-Jewish servants, and they were milking the cows. Now he had to go and daven mincha or shachrit or whatever, and he left them milking the cows by itself. So he asked, and then he came back and he watched them, but he wasn't there all the time. He asked, could he drink this milk or not? So the answer was, b'diavad it's okay. Meaning the whole gzera, what we see here, the whole gzera was if it's owned by a Jew or not owned by a Jew. This says not go in the non-Jewish milk. So here in that case, it's owned by a Jew. These cows were owned by a Jew, and the only thing is there was non-Jewish workers there. But since it's owned by a Jew, b'diavad, meaning after the fact, you could rely on, and it does bring it also actually in the Ramah. It brings that it says abemot bebet Israel or badir shalahem. Not this. If you have animals in your it's owned by a Jew. As long as you can come anytime to check, it's okay. It doesn't. You don't have to be there all the time. That's why if you see some kashruyot in Israel, they are allowing if there's a camera there, even if there's no, because it's owned by a Jew. It's different if it's owned by a Jew or owned by a non-Jew. If it's owned by a Jew, it's already lenient. It's less strict, even though you have non-Jewish workers there. And it says different also here. But of course, lechatchila, all the time it's better if you are there, even if it's owned by a Jew. Now he brings it says that Aruch said. There was a story. One of the poskim of the Aruch. There was one time. There was one community that they were eating milk from they all bought the milk from this non-Jewish farmer, and they were relying on their lenient opinions, whatever. And but the milk was tasting really good. But they said, "Wow, why is it? How come the milk tastes so good?" And they went to the non-Jew. They asked him, "How come your milk tastes better than other milks?" And he said, "I'm mixing some brain of a cow inside the milk." And they were shaken. And then they understood if Chazal made this gzera, there's a reason why Chazal made the gzera.
When did they start mixing it?
After the milk, they were putting the brain of the cow.
When?
No, it happened in the time of the Aruch HaShulchan.
Oh, that was
One of the poskim, big posek, and they were you could find more lenient opinions to say that it's okay, but you still see from here that it's better to. Also, it says in the Lubavitcher Rebbe answers to different people. I'm not telling anyone what to do, of course. There is a way and room to be lenient to drink milk, and there is a poskim who says that it's okay. I'm not, of course, telling anyone If someone is relying on their lenient opinion, that's okay. But if you want to be kind of more like more strict and more connected, more work on your spiritual thoughts. It affects whatever you eat, affects what you think. And if Chachamim made this issur, Chachamim knew the reason. And he also brings another story here of Rabbi Lando from Bnei Brak. And I forgot to mention also that the Ramah says that besides the Jewish person come and watch, he needs to be there also in the beginning of the Chaliva to check that the vessel are empty and that there's no non-kosher milk over there. So there was a story of in Bnei Brak. That time they had cows, and the Rav of Bnei Brak, there was one person who milked the cows. It was owned by a Jew, which is already better, but still we wanted another kosher supervisor, rabbi, to be present. So he did come to watch the milking, but he wasn't there in the beginning. There's another strict restriction to be there in the beginning of the milking and during the milking also. So he was there. Here, I found this. So the rabbi of Bnei Brak told him, I want you to be, the milking would start like very early morning. He said, I want you to be there in the beginning. And so to me, I want this milk, the first milk that come out, that you were there watching that there's no like non-kosher milk or whatever. So he said, oh, look, it's hard for me to wake up early. I don't know if I can do it. He said, look, I'll pay you more. Just, I want this milk that you watched. I want you to be present in the beginning of the chaliva, beginning of the milking. So he said, okay, fine. And then the rabbi of Rabbi Lando, the rabbi of Bnei Brak, used to go after Passover, used to go to some hotel called Hotel Reich, and he would go there after Passover to kind of come down after all the pressure of Passover, because there was a lot of questions, and a rabbi is very, very busy during this time. And he said that his prayers were a lot better. Like he felt like his prayers were not the same as Bnei Brak. And he was asking himself, why is my prayers are a lot better here in Jerusalem? Why? Because the holy Jerusalem? Like, why is my prayers, I feel like it's easy to pray? And Bnei Brak, it's a lot of Talmidei Chachamim live in Bnei Brak. Why is my prayers are not so good? And he came to the conclusion that the reason is because this mashgiach, he was not there in the beginning of the chaliva. And he told them, he said, I'm firing you. I don't want you to bring me milk anymore. And they said, why? He said, because you're not there. And then he said, no, I'm there. And then he admitted that he wasn't there. So what do you see from here? That you're right, you can find some lenience, maybe some regarding milk, not regarding cheese. There's some more, it's not so, you can find some more lenient opinions. But if you want to be a person who cares about your spirituality, and you care about your connection to Hashem, if Chachamim made this gzerah, you should try to keep this gzerah. Because your prayers will be there better, your fulfilling the mitzvot, your thoughts will be more pure. So it affects whatever you eat, it affects your thoughts and everything, and your spirituality.
It's the same logic. That man who is on the border is put there to keep people inside the land safe. Right?
The person in the border? What?
On the border.
Yeah.
Is put there to keep people to
exactly, yes.
not to enemies. So the same logic is here.
Yes.
You put the person there to watch the process of producing milk in order to provide better results.
Correct.
And
Also,
you don't put him there to sleep. The same thing if you put that man on the border to fall asleep, many people will be dead when the enemies come.
So someone asked this, the Rabbi Lando, who I listened to his lecture, what about milk powder? Would it stay okay? Milk powder to a sick person. He said, look, if it's a sick person, you could be more lenient. He's a sick person, he needs this milk powder. So you can say that Chachamim made the decree on milk. They did not make the decree on milk powder. This is not milk. Mm-hmm. But of course, if you are able to, even milk powder, you shouldn't. But also we see here later it says that butter you could, according to butter you're allowed to. But still, someone who is more yeah.
מה ההבדל בין חלב היום לבין גבינה? גבינה מותר לאכול לגוי.
לא, גבינה אסור.
בדיוק ההפך.
גבינה רכה.
כי יש כאלה שאומרים שזה לא נחשב גבינה שחכמים גזרו עליה.
זה חלב.
So they say that the cheese the soft like cream cheese, They said that's not the cheese that Chachamim meant. Chachamim meant actual hard cheese.
אבל
I don't know
זה
if it-
חלב.
נכון, I agree with you. Look, I don't know, I'm not, it's not, there's a lot of opinions about this. It's not so simple.
There was at the time some cheese that was produced. It's not like today. We have 100 different versions of cheese, for example, varieties.
Correct.
So that's why they speak about their cheese that they produce the most and people consume the most. Very simple thing. Like,
Correct.
it's not.
There's so much to elaborate on it. I try to make it kind of like
Yeah.
short, but there's maybe, I don't know, maybe one time we could go into more specifics.
Sure.
Shokach.
זו כבוד!
Okay.